Welcome back everyone. Today we're building this RAAW Madonna. Pretty much every component is going to be XTR or Hope. So it's going to be a very nice bike and everything's black. Stay tuned. So brand new frame. Customer had a very similar bike. It wasn't a RAAW, I forget what brand it was. It had a creak that we couldn't track down. Eventually revealed itself as a big crack in the frame, hence it was creaking. So we're using a lot of the parts from the old bike and some nice shiny new ones too. Like I say, everything's pretty much Shimano XTR and anything else is Hope. A few other bits and pieces along the way, but this is going to be a very high spec build. Looking forward to this one. Should also be a pretty straightforward build. The way RAAW build their bikes, everything is external. Actually really well designed frame. This should fly together in theory. I'm just using an old reverb at the moment before I put the dropper in. Until I get the bar in, it's going to be a bit difficult to measure hoses and cables, etc. So we'll just use this temporarily to hold it in the stand. We'll leave the shock off for now just so we can check the hose length, etc. But yeah, this should be very easy to build. First thing we need is a headset, obviously. I think me and this bike are going to fall out. You know how I feel about matte black. Literally the whole bike is matte black. Anyway, let's get going. First of the Hope bits, headset. That's that in. Let's get a drop of grease in here. Use a nice high quality stainless and anodized, so it's very unlikely to seize, but get something in there anyway. If it does seize, at least you can knock the whole thing out. Headset. Fork wise, we've got a Fox 38, and guess what? It's matte black. This is the old fork from the old bikes. This is already cut. I have tried it. It is just about long enough. Obviously we need this race as well. It is a split race, so it will literally just drop straight on this fork. Again, just a smidge of grease underneath here though. It will literally just press straight on like that. Don't get much easier than that. So this can go in now with a stem. Yeah, I'm just going to throw this in at the moment and drop it down and support the fork on my stool. An angry cat in the workshop because it's raining. Get this compression ring on. And put this piece on, like I say, get some grease on there. Make sure you get that level. Like that. And then the stem. So we're going to need one spacer in there at least. It's just a little bit on the long side. So this is the old stem, hence there's a mark on there. It's come off the old bike. Just need to find a spacer. So he has left some spaces in the box, but these are all going to be a bit on the big side really. I'll put a smaller one in there. Put this above or below, it doesn't make any difference. It does the same job. I'm going to put it below there. Stem's upside down, sorry. There you go. I'll put this top cap in. Compress this down a bit and see how she looks. It feels nice. Just going to nip this bottom one up ever so slightly for now. And take this back out to see how that's looking on the fork. So it's just a little bit low for me, so I am going to put that spacer on the top in the end. It's going to do a better job there. Obviously we've got full coverage here, and this will allow the top cap to do its job. And you'll see why I chose a carbon one in a minute. Get this lined up. Excuse the noisy birds outside. Must be breakfast time. We'll tighten these up later when we get the wheel in, etc. Just nip them up for now. That bit's done. Just wipe any greasy fingerprints off there. Looking good. Right, with the stem, we need a bar, obviously. Again, this is the bar from the old bike, Hope Carbon. Very nice bar, very nice. Let's get this in. Just be careful with the torque on this, obviously it's a carbon bar. They don't give you any torque ratings on here, so I am going to go and have a look on their website, see what they recommend. So they tell you to follow the stem manufacturer's recommendation, which is also Hope. So they want 9 Newton meters. And they also tell you to put the top bolts in first, torque those, and then put the bottom bolts in. Which is a bit odd, but let's go with the manufacturer's recommendations. They also ask for grease on these bolts. Just a tiny bit of grease on there then. So you get it aligned where you want it now, and then they tell you to torque the top 2 bolts up without the bottom bolts. It does feel very alien, I'm not going to lie. And then we install the lower bolts. Again, they ask for just a drop of grease on there as well, along with their factory installed Loctite. Looking good. I'm just going to make sure this can spin without hitting anything, otherwise we're going to need to support the bar, but that's okay. I think we'll put the bottom bracket in next. You never guess what's going in here. You guessed it, a Black Hope. This is one for the old bike as well, but it is actually a pretty new bottom bracket. This was changed when we were trying to track down that creak that turned out to be a broken frame. So this is pretty much brand new, but it has given me some new bearings as well. So we'll just get these quickly pressed in. These are dead easy. Get a bit of grease in these first, just to aid installation. And you should be able to press these in very easily, just in your soft jaws here. Like that. Need to go in a little bit further. I've got a special tool for that. This is part of the Hope toolkit. I've got a full Hope toolkit. This will just press that in all the way. There you go. That's those in. They give you these caps as well. We'll just get a bit of grease in here just to give it some protection and hold this in place. More grease. Use anti-seize if you want, but they specify grease on their instructions. As you might have noticed, I'm building this purely to manufacturer's instructions. This frame is already very nicely faced as well, as you'll notice the shiny silver bit. I'll get this installed. There's a spacer on this side, 2.5mm. Get that in. I'll lift this out of the way because that's going to get very close. Torque that up 40 to 50 Newton meters. Another Hope tool. Get this torqued up, left-hand thread. You need a torque wrench that torques with the left hand as well. All of them do. We've got 47.5 there. Surprise, surprise, Hope cranks. And a Hope chainring. So we just need to install this. So these are the used ones off the old bike. So it'll only go one way. Again, smidge of grease on these threads as per their instructions. And there's a lock ring. 60 Newton meters on this one. It's going to be a challenge. Pretty damn tight, basically. More Hope tools. Like I say, I do have a complete Hope toolkit. It's probably a little excessive for the home mechanic, but it wasn't actually that badly priced, I'll be honest, in comparison to DT's complete toolkit. That was a bit ridiculous. Very rarely gets used, I'll be honest. So that will go on there, and like I say, you're going to struggle to torque this to 60 Newton meters. So we are just going pretty damn tight. Like that. Getting a torque wrench on there with a socket and then holding this without damaging it and torquing it is just going to be pretty damn challenging, but that's extremely tight. You can go in there. I've got a preload exactly the same as SRAM basically. A bit of wear on this axle. I'm going to miss getting a new one at some point. Can't feel anything, it's just tarnishing more than anything. If you can feel it with your fingernail, then you've got an issue, but it's just tarnishing. But yeah, they're available as spare parts if need be. Okay, with that said, we're going to get some grease on these points. We do need to get the chain guide on as well, so I'll just put this in and then we'll put that on first before the chain ring. Like that. So we have this to go on. I'm just going to work out which nuts and bolts there are in the box of bits and get this bolted on. So bear with me. I'm just going to put this back in just to get this swing arm out of the way because it's just getting a little bit close. This is just packaging. And just clears that area there to work on a bit easier. Guessing it's this bag of bits here. Right. Well, this area of the frame obviously sees a lot of crud, so we are definitely protecting these threads. Stuff getting seized up. The bolts are already rusty in the bag. That's going to go somewhere there then. There are 2 spaces in the bag, but I was looking for 3, so that's handy. And I found something else that'll do the job, no problem. Same thickness. I might not need these spaces, we'll have to see, but it should be pretty much as it was. So we did buy a frame that's pretty much identical dimensionally and fitting wise as his old one, so he's definitely made my life a bit easier. You can see the old marks here where it used to be fitted to the old one. Like I say, it's a different manufacturer's frame, so there's no guarantee that's going to be right, but it's going to be a good ballpark. So we'll put it about there. Right, bash guard, I found the bolts. Torques on this one. And a 6mm on the reverse, as you do. What do you reckon to the old black look? Murdered out as this will. It ain't going anywhere. Next up, the cranks themselves. We've already got some grease on these splines as they specify. And there's a 10mm. Spin them on. 50 Newton meters. Oh yeah. And then just the same as SRAM, you've got to set this preload ring here. There's another special Hope tool just to fit that. Basically a C-spanner. You should be able to do it by hand, to be honest, but I'm just going to spin this on very loosely. And that's it. We're just literally taking out any lateral side-to-side movement like this. and just gently pinch that up. It doesn't need to be tight. I'll put this piece on when we've got the chain on, etc. It just takes 2 seconds. I think what we'll do next is put the brakes on. I was expecting post mount on this, but interesting. Hopefully this is the correct adapter he supplied me. It's looking promising. Been locked out on these. So this RAAW frame is, yeah, been pretty impressed with this so far. It's very well thought out for mechanics at least. I think they've got a pretty good reputation. First one I've had in, I'll be honest, but pretty nice. I think that might give you a clue as to what's coming next. You'll never guess, honestly. Yeah, Hope V4s. Again, these came off the old bike, so they are basically pitted in, used, unbled, so these don't get much easier, and everything is externally routed. Just hope the hoses are long enough, but it's a very similar sized bike, etc. So should drop straight in. Let's go. Very, very nice brakes these are. Let's find the bolts that he's left me somewhere. This is what I'm working with, guys, so bear with. Yeah, it's got to be this pair here. Put these on with some Loctite. Tell you what, this is going to be a very, very nice bike, isn't it? Haven't got to the transmission yet. No Di2 mechanical gears on this one. You don't even need to bed the brakes in. Don't get much easier than this one. I thought I'd still show you now, because it's nice. Right, just leave that floating a little bit like that so we can centre it up later. And again, everything externally routed, so super, super easy. They even use some cable ties as well. Fantastic. If you're watching RAAW, I'm a big fan. I'm liking this. Let's get this just cable tied loosely into place for now, and we'll come back to it in a minute. There's clips as well, but to be honest, I prefer cable ties. Clips have a habit of popping off. Instruction book. The only reason I'm looking at this is because they give you recommended cable routing for the bike. So for those weirdo Brits that have the rear brake on the left, we're looking at image 2, so this one here, that's talking about all these here, so it's pretty good. Like so. I am just going to throw this onto the bar though, because I want to run the dropper at the same time. So that's on the right side of the bike. We'll come back to that when the dropper cable goes on, because there's like a double clamp here, we need to put them both on at the same time. And this is for the rear mech. Very nice brakes. This is a 200mm bracket, but the rotors that are going on are 203, so we may need to add some 1.5mm spaces underneath here. Never tried these brakes before, guys. They are absolutely insane power, honestly. Just crazy. Right, I'm just going to run the hose through this, obviously. I think I've actually fixed the focus on my camera. What I'm doing now is I'm using it purely on manual focus, focusing everything first and then filming. It seems to be working pretty well. Only took me 18 months. I was putting a drop of grease on these. Like that. Starting to look a bit like a bike now. Right, we'll get a shifter on now and get the grips on. Flying now. Told you it wouldn't take long. So first of the Shimano bits, brand new shifter here. Very, very nice. It's going to go on here, obviously. I just need to swap the position of this over to this side. Hope do make some adapters that you can actually bolt the shifter straight to, but I don't have that, so there we go, my Shimano's bracket. Very easy just to swap that over. There. Could just pull it off the bar, but because we're connected to the brake, this hose is pretty tight to pull off now, so can't do that. There'll be enough room for the grips. Good. That's a brand new Shimano coated cable. Very nice when they're new. Not quite so nice when they wear, because all this coating basically bunches up inside the liners, etc. But they are very, very good cables, don't get me wrong. Super, super slick. Literally Teflon, I think. Something very similar. PTFE, I guess. We'll get the rear mech on, and then we can cut some outer for this. This bike's on a UDH, as most now are, I guess. Look at this beauty. It's not new, you can see some wear on these pulleys. These are aftermarket pulleys by the looks of it. But it is in extremely good condition. So let's get this in. I don't think it's new. It might be new, I'm not sure, to be honest. In extremely good condition apart from some wear on here. Get it on then. A bit of grease on there. It's got to be new, there's fresh grease in here. So the customer's a massive fan of Shimano, especially XTR. He bought another bike with SRAM on it, and he's literally ripped it all off and fitted XTR because he just was not happy with the gears. Man after my own heart. Beautiful. So that's modern XTR. That's mid-90s XTR. Very nice as well. Mine. I know a lot of people hate AI, but it's quite funny sometimes. Just before we continue, quick pause to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. Don't squeeze these. There's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a job, only for everything to come to a grinding halt because the part you ordered said it was in stock. It was not in stock, not even in the same country sometimes. I waited weeks and weeks and weeks. One company I can think of calls themselves .co.uk. They live in Spain. And that's why I use Sport and Leisure. They're based right here in the UK. Stock levels are 100% live. So it's on the shelf, genuinely is on the shelf, ready to go. Get your order in before 3 PM. It's dispatched the very same day with free delivery on all UK orders. Next day delivery, only £2.50, no brainer. So they've also updated the channel discount scheme for you. Head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now. It will generate an additional 10% discount at checkout of your very first order. You're buying parts anyway, it's an easy way to save a bit of cash. So the link's in the description below, and a massive thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Right, what's next on this? Like I said, I've got a piece of housing now from the mech to the shifter, and we can get this threaded up. And yeah, very nice. Luckily, I've got plenty of it. It's a 30-metre roll, so we're just going to cut this roughly for now. This goes along here. Obviously, make it longer than what you think. I ain't going to be far off. And about there. Should be more than long enough. So I do need to run some for the dropper as well, which goes in here. So it's pretty straightforward, but we can jump on that in a bit, no problem. This will obviously go in here. Make sure you open up the end first. Got a nice metal end cap on this one. That lives in there, and then we have this very cool chainstay protector that they give you, self-adhesive, and it's got a channel in there to accommodate the cable, so that lives underneath that. And about there, some spaces for cable ties as well, so that's good. So we'll get that stuck on. It'll be even easier with some wireless gears, won't it? The new Shimano stuff, the newest Shimano Di2. Mountain bike wireless. Nice. And that's pretty much on there, just tuck that in there. A little bit long, but it will still slide through. I'm pretty much stuck now, I'll be honest. I can trim this down there. And then just cable tie these on. Ties, whatever you want to call them. It just replied, busted. Damn. And then give you another one here for another cable tie, which is nice. Keep it going for a bit longer. So this gear housing can go up here now and be cable tied into place. So it's funny. And then I'll run through these two clamps here, which will open up in a minute with the rest of them. Actually, I'll just run those through now, just loosely. Like that, because I want to go through this one properly. I'll take my gloves off now because everything's so clean. Pretty much finished greasing things at the moment. So that will sit there like that quite nicely. And that needs to run up to this shifter. So the length on that is more than long enough, potentially a little bit too long. So we just need to be able to turn these bars through 90 degrees pretty much without overstretching that cable if you fall off. So we can probably take a couple of inches off there still. I'll thread this through now. I'll through the rear mech, but I might just want to trim that down another inch as well first. It's just a little bit on the long side, I think. Pull that in and back through, don't cut it now, whatever you do. Could be a bit better. Like that. Just be really careful when you pull this, not to put a kink in it at the last second. Like that, very nice. I can commit to these now, happy with them. Connect this round here. So somebody was saying the other day you can pull this cable, I showed you it on an Ultegra, it comes right through. And they were saying you can bend it right round. You can only do that on mountain bike, guys. You can see a groove that's manufactured all the way around there. On Ultegra, you've just got a straight one here. It just comes out the back. But on mountain bike ones, for some reason, they decided you can wrap it all the way around. I think you probably can do it if you tried hard enough, but that's not how they design it. If you look at their PDF, they always show super clear cable routing pictures. And if you take this out, you will see a groove that is manufactured in there to accommodate that cable. I'll just wrap it around like that. I find on these Shimanos they need very little cable tension. Obviously you've got a barrel adjuster anyway on the shifter, but they tend to work with virtually no cable tension at all, just so well. You know what, it'll be a nightmare now. But that will be pretty good there. I'm just going to click this shifter. Yeah, that. Perfect, no tension on that. And that'll work with very little adjustment. So we can cut that off now. Maybe I'll put one of these fluorescent orange ones on just to wind him up even more. Maybe I'll put black on, there you go. Actually, I'm going to put one of these on and send him a picture. Beautiful, I quite like that. Don't worry, they're only very, very cheap ones from AliExpress. Let's put this black one on. Very nice. Right, so that bit is pretty much done for now. Chuck some pedals on, I suppose. There they've gone. Surprise, surprise, Black Hope pedals. There you go. For some pedal washers somewhere. So grease on these. Right, we have pedals. Good. Next, I really need to get this brake hose fitted, which means I've got to fit a dropper cable. So let's get some of that in, I think. Again, I'm just going to cut this massively too long. and then trim it down. So you're going to need about that much there to go up the seat post. So we can clamp this on next to that brake hose on the other side for now. It's going to sit somewhere around about there, alongside this brake hose. I'll leave it a tiny bit loose so I can move this in and out if need be. And again, I'll just run these through that. It's interesting because that wants the brake hose on the inside. Let me just check that manual again. Okay. So dropper is white. So that goes there. Okay. So they do want it to cross over at some point. Right, okay, let me get that right. So I've basically gone against what they're saying here, because what they're saying is you need to be crossing these over, literally crossing over on the frame like this, which to me is just going to look a bit ridiculous. That looks really nice and tidy, and everything's routed very nicely up there. And around the head tube as well, both sides. I mean, you can swap this, as it's a double clamp on the other side, you can obviously swap it to this side, and then you're crossing around, but the only problem with do that, but potentially then this brake hose is going to be too short, because they're telling you to put it around here and around the top tube, and again the gear cable around the other side, and the dropper cable around the other side, so it's basically a complete opposite of what I've done there. So I mean, I can do that, it's not a problem, but if the brake hose is too short, then that's going to be a lot more work and expense for the customer, and potentially look worse on the down tube than that. Let me speak to the customer, make a decision. I'll get these grips fitted while I'm waiting for him to come back to me. We're not committed yet to the cables, we can still move stuff, no problem. To me, it looks better the way I've done it. Oh, I know, I didn't design the bike, did I? I'll see what he wants to do. Like I say, it's easy to swap at the moment. Rev grips. These grips are a bit OTT. Oh, don't fit, does it? Like that. Like my subliminal messaging. Subtle, isn't it? Alright, get this one on as well. I think we'll look at the wheels next. We can still do that while we're waiting for a decision on cables. Like I say, the brakes currently shouldn't even need bleeding, so super easy this one. Tighten this lever to somewhere a bit closer. The carbon bar, guys, don't go bonkers, yeah? That's around about there. As long as he's not moving under normal use, so press these and pull them up, whatever you want to do. They ain't going anywhere. So that's the dropper housing at the moment. Obviously it's far too long, but like I say, I might be swapping them over yet, so I'll leave it at that for now. So let's get this front wheel in, get some grease on this first. Bone dry at the moment. We've got 203 Hope floating rotors. Again, these are used as well. These are some damn big brakes. Very nice. I'm just going to center that caliper up a tiny bit. It doesn't need much. That's pretty good there. Okay, pretty good. Again, don't need bleeding straight away. Well, let's look at the back wheel. Just make some space first. 101 torque wrenches out. So back wheel, we have a bit missing, as you may notice. So we have a brand new microspline freehold body. Nice. Brand new. There's a washer here, but there's one already fitted here, so we don't need that one. So you can see this is already lubricated by Hope, and this is how much grease you put in these things. Tiny, tiny amount, not outside, bone dry basically. So nice and loud, that will just drop straight in like that. I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on the inside of this, because we're going over the axle there. I'm going to drop a freehub grease just on this outside edge, and this seal down here, just a very, very light coating, like that. So that washer is already in there, make sure that's there, 1mm washer. Drop this in, rotate it, and it will just drop in. Like that. And the slight difference to Hope is this seal here basically needs to press underneath this lip here. There's a special tool for that. You can normally manipulate it under pretty easy, but just make sure that goes in like that. Like that, and that's in. I'll say they do a special driver tool that's in that kit, but you don't really need it. Make sure that's on as well. And that's it. End cap there, so you'll need some of this grease on the O-ring there, otherwise it's a bit challenging to get that on and off. And then we need a cassette, obviously. XTR cassette, very nice. So microspline, a little bit more tricky to line up, but you get there in the end. Just use this guide at the supplier, it will drop straight in pretty much. So I think we've all agreed it's pointless lubricating freehub bodies with grease. I've never had one seize up, ever. Ever. I've had them seized because they're driven forward and bitten into aluminium, but never with corrosion, so It just seems like a bit of a pointless exercise. So there's a little dot here and a little dot here. Line those up. It's easy when it's new, but when they're a bit dirty, it's really hard to see where this goes, and especially this one, because the dot is there. Which lines up there. We'll only go one way. So decision has been made. The cables are staying where they are. Personally, I prefer them where they are. But at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world if we need to change them. It's not a massive job. In fact, it's pretty straightforward. Because everything is externally routed. Oh, let's get this in then. Very nice. Again, a bit of grease. Again, we've still got to line this rear caliper a little bit as well. Like that. What would it be a 5? I've never had a mountain bike that's a 5mm. So let's just do this caliper now while I'm here. Getting hungry. If you can hear my stomach rumbling, sorry. I'm rubbing on the inside of the caliper there. So we are going to need these spacers because that is sitting too high. So I've got to get some spacers for this caliper mount. No problem. It might be a problem. I'm not sure I've got any. I don't know why I bought 200, not a 203. I know they've recently just, Shimano have agreed on a new standard and whatnot, and other people make 200s, but I could have bought a 203. Maybe this was supplied with the frame, I don't know. So I've got some spacers, put them in there. Alright, that's better. Put some spacers in there now to clear that caliper. Good. Check the lever. Beautiful. Fantastic brakes, honestly. Just checking that rotor is being cleared by that pad completely, which it is. Just sweeping the whole pad. Alright, I'll just disconnect this now. I'm just going to check these hoses, etc. are going to be long enough. I'm pretty damn sure they are, but we're just checking for any tension on this at both ends of it. It's extreme. Absolutely no problem, either of those. So we get the shock in there now. Again, this is the shock from the old bike. I did a quick video on changing its stroke length up 2.5, which was for this bike. Put a little bit of Loctite on this. It's got a flip chip in this as well, so you can change its position. We'll go with standard position for now, which is there. Those torque settings on their website, they're pretty good for that, so I'll check those. I think it's 12 Newton meters on this one. And obviously this end has got to go into here. So you've got some bolts here, bit of grease on anything that's flat like that, a bit of Loctite on there. Hate getting these in. Either go straight in or you're there for ages lining them up. This one looks like it'll be behaving. Feels good. There you go, straight in. Thank you. Right, they were very well behaved bolts, which makes a change for these things. Torque them up, looking a bit like a bike now. Now he did ask me to debadge this shock, but I kind of said no because I don't know. I think you can get different colour ones. He's clearly done the forks. I don't know if he's got these, but I was a little hesitant to take them off. Again, pretty straightforward if he wants to do it at a later date. Pretty mechanically competent, to be fair, so he just struggles for time, as we all do. Right, so that's looking good. So now we need a chain. Pretty much all we need to do now is get the chain on, set the gears, and then put the dropper in and the saddle, and I think we're about there. Right, so before we do that, we'll just throw this bottle cage on. They give you one spacer there, which matches the height of that, and 2 replacement bolts, so that's quite a good design, like that. A bit of grease in here as well. Take this one out to be replaced with this bolt. I'm liking it raw. I'm not sure about your cable routing, but I'm liking it. But if he does want to change this, it's no big deal. Personally, I think it just looks a lot neater rather than physically crossing over 2 cables here. I don't like the idea of that at all. Right, let's get this chain on. So we have, guess what, an XTR chain. I'm going to cut that to your desired length. I'm going to go through the rear mech. A hell of a spring on this. Wow. The spring is so strong, I'm going to use this to help me. That's crazy. I'll just join up there then, nice and easily. I actually took 3 links off in the end because the suspension is not compressed, which you should really do to get the accurate method. And to be honest, I'm very rarely have to take 4 links off, so I didn't believe it. And it's much easier to take another one off if you need to than trying to put one on. We'll see how we go like that. It does look a bit long there though, to be honest, so give it a go anyway, see how we go. I'm guessing this is a new mech because limit screws are not right. You need a little bit more on this one for a start. And it wasn't going down to high either. It's going up there now. Need to do some cable tension, yeah, don't worry. That's going down there. Let's check the B limit now. So for this one, you see that line there, that 51T. That needs to line up basically with the bottom of the sprocket, so that is pretty much exactly where it needs to be, just there. So that's easy. I'm just going to press this to seat those housings in, etc. Like that, and pedal that. Alright, drop it back down. So we go for 1 gear now. Straight up. Noisy, let's try and go up to still. So that shouldn't be on there. You see how much that should be on that one at the moment. It's gone up there. I haven't touched the barrel adjuster, and you saw how slack I fitted that cable. That's how little tension these radios need, so little. So there was some adjustment in there, so I've screwed that in 4 turns, and that should just slacken that cable off. I think this chain is 1 link too long. I'll take that out in a minute. Let's go up now. Much better. That limit screw still just feels a little bit tight. This one here. Yeah. You just feel resistance in the gear lever when you're going up there. It's just a little bit tight. Go up. Where are you trying to go still? Still too much tension. I'm pulling this derailleur back now to slacken it off basically, and it's quiet. Without that, you can hear it rubbing against this largest sprocket. There's still too much tension. I've run out of adjustment at the gear lever, so we're just going to back it off ever so slightly on here, get a bit more slack in this piece here. Just going to pull through a millimetre or so. So we've got all the barrel adjuster basically to play with. That's it there. So that probably won't shift now, and that's not a problem. I'm just going to take a link out of this because it's definitely too long. Right, that looks better. Let's carry this again. It probably won't shift now because I've slackened it off pretty extensively. I got a bit carried away with that, that's too much. Let's pull it through again. Obviously being a brand new frame on a UDH, everything is going to be perfectly straight. You would have to presume so, wouldn't you? Where do you draw the line otherwise? Right, try again. Lovely, and back down. Happy with that. I'm just going to get that B screw now, took that link out again. That needs to come up a bit now because we've adjusted the chain length to there. So that should shift even better. Yeah, much better than that, guys. In fact, I'm not sure it gets any better than that. So we get this fitted now. Do the state of this bolt. I think I'll tell him to get some decent Allen keys. That's pretty much rounded out completely. So this is a 30 tooth chain ring. It gives you some lines on here where to set it approximately. And about there, you see. This is on the biggest sprocket at the moment, so about there I think. Well, this bolt is absolutely knackered. Look at that ball end, not even touching it. And look at the time. Sorry, I had this great idea this morning. Come on, look at it, it's literally completely rounded out. Oh my god, simple job. Got a bit of a tape on the other side, it looks like it'll fit better that way. The state of that is pretty much dead. Oh, it's pretty much dead. There's like literally half a thread working on that. Not only is that end rounded out, end's pretty much completely stripped off. So I've got to find a new bolt for this, it's just never going to work. I need you. Chop this down a bit, just a little bit long. Back in business. It's just a prime example of how a 2-second job can end up being 20 minutes or so. I mean, that didn't take me 20 minutes, but you know what I mean. All right, now we're talking. That's as tight as that needs to be. Not this tight. I'll just quickly go down the cassette, make sure that's not rubbing anywhere. Perfect. Good. So the only thing we've got left to do now is fit the dropper post. A brand new Fox transfer to go in here. There's one giant seat post. It's a good job it's an XL frame, isn't it? Crikey, they're massive. So I do need to just temporarily support the frame by this piece here. Get a cloth around there and just gently clamp it. Don't worry, I'm not going to crush anything. I do have a adapter now for clamping frames, however, I think it'll be a bit challenging on this one, I'll be honest. We're not going to be in here 2 minutes. So that's literally just supporting the frame there. It's not tight by any stretch of the imagination. Get this out. Also got to align that stem and torque it as well. So this housing here, I'm just going to get this up the seat tube, hopefully. Easy said than done. Alright, so I'm just slacking these off ever so slightly because I need a couple more inches here. So I can pull that through now fairly easily. Hopefully. And there's a grommet here, this goes through here. Like that. Perfect. Cable end on this. Make sure that seats all the way. And drop a gear cable through there. This is stainless steel one, don't compromise on this one, whatever you do. There's a little fit in here they give you with the seat post that just clips into the release bit. So then what you have to take into account is this is going to be obviously pushed into the frame when you put your seat post in, which then makes this longer. So you can't really cut this to size now. Cool. It depends how much seat post you put in the seat tube. There's a bit of a jiggle to get this right. I mean, I'm sure there's an easy way of doing this, but I've never worked it out yet. So if anyone wants to chime in, then please feel free. I want that about there when it's done. So I think I'm going to cut off about 4 inches on this because that's how much is going to go into the seat post. So pull your cable through and then pull it past this piece here where you're going to cut. This is hopefully about there. And the cable back through there again. Like that. It's a matter of getting this enormous dropper post in. Obviously aluminium and aluminium. Get some grease in there, or anti-seize, whatever you prefer. I'll get some grease on there. I've never seen such a big one. That is what she said. On your post or in your seat tube, or a bit of both. You connect your post to this piece here, that's what that little round thing's for. Most droppers are the same. Some terminate the cable at this end, which is a bit more awkward. This isn't awkward enough without 3 pairs of hands. And then it's a bit of a jiggling act again. You've got to pull this outer housing through the frame at the same time as kind of pushing the post down. Otherwise what happens is it disconnects here, you get it all back together and you're not actually connected. So you've got to maintain some tension on this outer while you're pushing the seat post. And that's how I do it anyway. Like I say, I'm sure there's easier ways of doing this than what I do, that's for sure. I don't claim to be an expert on this one. So yeah, just pull that cable and push the post at the same time. Like that. Flipping seat post is huge. I'm not confident that's gone through properly at all, I'll be honest. I swear to God, nobody needs a seat post this long. Well, that's pretty much as low as that's going to go because it's just going to foul on the junction of the frame here, otherwise. Let's hope he's bought the right size. I didn't buy this. I'm just going to connect this up to this hope lever. Again, maybe a bit on the long side, so I might need to redo that. Just take a bit more length out because I don't want it quite that long. So I mean, it's really hard to get it right between that and how much post you've got in there. Now you've got to take the post out again to get the inner cable out again to get it right. I am sure there's an easy way of doing this, so please enlighten me politely. I'm going to mark that up to where I want it, which is there. A couple more inches, 3 or 4 actually. Take the world's longest seat post out again. Oh, after a little bit of messing around, I've got that the right way. This is bent though, that wasn't me, that is bent. Which is not helping matters, so yeah, not ideal. Let's get this fitted, that's a new one there. Straight one. So I'll put the seat post as low as possible. However, I've left a bit of slack in here in case you need to actually put the seat post up because you'll need some slack there. He's quite a tall guy. And this is an XL frame with the world's longest seat post. So, alright. Connected. Does it work? Snap that up. It shouldn't go down now. Pressing on it. Press that lever and it should go down, obviously. Which it does. Let go of the lever and it stays down, so that's working. Perfect. Okay, let's clamp back on the post now. Yes, you can clamp a dropper as long as it's fully extended. Don't believe me? Check out Part Tools video. He even bought a black one, not bought a Shimano one, has he? Right, now we are almost there. Just going to tighten these back up that I've loosened off to get that cable through. Chop this off now, don't need this. Cable end. I'm just going to align this stem with the wheel. Now it's on the floor. And that works pretty damn good where I had it, to be honest. I think I was about 1/10 of a degree out. There you go, perfect. Make sure that logo's straight as well. And these were 9 Newton meters as well. Same as Shimano cranks, do these nice and alternately, there you go. Like that. I've got a million fingerprints to wipe off and then we'll put the saddle on and then we are done. One thing we do need to do is just nip this pinch bolt up at the front. Just got to cycle the suspension a few times first just to make sure it's happy where it is on the axle. That's what they asked you to do. And just nip that up to 5.1, that way tight. There you go. There's one on the back of the chainstay, I'll do the same. And everyone's favourite job, fitting a saddle. I hate fitting saddles. Still can't get over the size of this thing. I really should use ratchets more. I don't know why I don't. Guessing Hope don't make saddles. WTB. Chromo. Only titanium. Let's get it somewhere in the middle for it. That's somewhat level. Just can't believe the size. There's no way he's going to fit on this bike. It's massive. Don't ask me to test ride it because there ain't no way I'm getting on this. Not without a step ladder, that's for sure. That is as low as that will go in the frame because of the design of the frame. Obviously, that's the seat post is basically bottomed out there. Oh, it's a good elbow rest. That's how big this is. With that done, we have a bicycle. She's all good. She's certainly very stealthy, that's for sure. So you guys keep asking me for a show around after I finish the bike, but just a little bit difficult for me. I don't really have the room to parade around and do all the stuff that other people do. And to be honest, you get a damn good look at it for the rest of the video as it goes together anyway. So I will look at doing something, but I'll just struggle for space to do anything more than that. So all done. I did actually manage to give it a test ride with the dropper down. Actually quite nice. Brakes are extremely good. Gears work beautifully. Yeah, it's just a nice bike, isn't it? Super stealthy. Anyway, you see a lot of these dream builds out there, I know you do. But the thing watching those videos is they never talk to you. I mean, some may say that's a good thing, but if you're trying to learn stuff, then I don't find that particularly helpful. So hopefully you did find this helpful. And if you did and you enjoy the content, there's another 150 or so other videos you might want to check out, and also consider subscribing if you like the content. Anyway, thank you for your time. Hope you did learn something and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.